It's time to Get Real with Eddie, here to help you understand the changing real estate market and meet your real estate goals. Over 19 years in the business.
2018 Realtor of the Year of Three Rivers, past president of the Three Rivers Association of Realtors,
Director at the Illinois Association of Realtors and team lead of the Ruettiger Group at Baird & Warner. Here's Eddie Ruettiger.
Welcome to Get Real with Eddie. It's Tuesday at noon, and we are here talking real estate. Well, as always, with me is Nancy Valley from the Ruettiger Group at Baird & Warner, and our special guest, John. Say the last name, John.
John Kambs, like lambs but with a K.
Kambs. All right. I always get strung up on it every time I look at it. I hear it in my head. I know how to say it right, and then I look at it, and I'm like, why is this one tripping me up? Kambs Group of Compass Mortgage. John, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so this all started kind of like a year ago. You had one of your team members give me a call randomly, and we talked, and I'm like, I got some outstanding lenders right now, but lenders, because I've been doing this for a while, sooner or later, as we talked before we came in air, they may mess up, and then I all of a sudden need a new lender.
Yeah.
And I told your person, hey, send me some info on your stuff. They sent me some info, and then you just took it upon yourself to start sending out information on a weekly basis. And it's some amazing information. I swear every realtor should subscribe to you just for the data that you put out. All right, so 2 weeks ago, and this is what I said, hey, come on the show. This is the text message I got, folks. The monthly inflation CPI report came in much higher than expectations this week, causing a sell-off on the bond market, making mortgage rates reach their highest level in 14 years. Inflation is going to be most likely be topping off in the fourth quarter or early 2023, which at that point we acknowledge they're in an actual recession. So this is the text I get, and these are the texts I get from you every week like clockwork. And it's just amazing cutting through. We talk on the show about this clickbait.
Yeah.
And you made a comment before we came on air when we were talking over in the green room that right now the powers that be, it's like they want the real estate market to fail, as you said.
Yeah, well, they definitely want to what's the
crush?
Dampen demand is the best way to, but it's I'm sure we've heard the term soft landing, and you always run the risk of dampening demand to putting out demand, and that's the very delicate balance that they're trying to walk right now. But like we said, the real estate market's been very resilient, but they're definitely trying to dampen demand to cool prices.
Yeah, and that's exactly just a way we've never looked on it on the show. We keep talking about how strong the market is, Mm-hmm. But we've never talked about how the fact they are trying to dampen demand. And they've succeeded. Showings are down. We got some data that show the showings are down 16%.
Yeah.
But that's from like an all-time high.
We're back to normal, which I
don't even think we're back to normal yet.
It's still maybe even a little bit above normal.
But on the showing side, and buyers in the market still. Yeah.
And with the amount of dampening they've been trying to do, it just speaks to how resilient the housing market is and how little supply there is in the market, which is going to keep prices firm.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't see all these naysayers talking about the market's going to collapse, I don't see it happening. All right? Real estate's real estate's heading from either anywhere from correction to major or massive correction. Correct. Yeah. That's the word they keep using now.
Yeah.
So before I heard real estate recession. Now that word has gone away.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening because you pointed out, and we've talked about it on the show, one of the aspects we run into is sellers aren't going to sell just because interest rates went up. sellers aren't going to sell if they're going to get less money for their property. They will wait this out. So it's, yes, you're seeing inventory go up, but we talked about this.
Slightly.
Yeah, not anything that's going to be relevant to a massive correction.
Well, nationally, we're up 26%. But when you're at 26% of one, you're not up that much. We're nowhere near the inventory levels of 2019.
No, we're not even remotely close.
Yeah. So they're making this because, again, they are trying to get clickbait on their websites to sell ads, because that's what it's about. So the more dramatic they can be, the old newspaper line, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
That's what's going on in this market so much, because here's the thing, that 26% of inventory, I'm going to say half of it is not quality inventory.
Yeah.
Right.
It is those individuals that come in at the end of a boom, and we did have a boom. There's no doubt 2021 was a boom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a boom. It was not a bubble. It was a boom. I mean, and there's multiple reasons it wasn't a bubble. And getting into that, our first article talks about, is the real estate market slowing down, or is this a bubble? So, and the reality of the shift in today's market, the reality is we're seeing an inflection point in housing supply and demand. According to Realtor.com, active listings have increased more than 26% over last year, while showings from the latest showing time showing index have decreased almost 16%. This inflection point for housing is important because over the past 2 years we've seen a massive demand and not enough homes on the market. So the beautiful thing is we're getting back to doing what our jobs are, and that is getting clients, in your case, ready, willing, and able, and good qualified buyers.
Yeah.
I mean, because how many buyers that were FHA that couldn't find a house in 21?
But they couldn't get an offer accepted.
Yeah. I mean, they could
find one, but couldn't get an offer accepted.
How many VAs, which breaks my heart,
Yep, a lot.
got turned down because, well, you're not conventional. You're not 20, 30, 40, 50% down.
You're not cash.
Right.
Cash.
A lot of cash.
Yep.
A lot of cash.
And there's still a lot of cash in this market.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just the quality of the inventory is not move-in ready. And that is the one thing that did not change during all of this boom. If you were not move-in ready, your house wasn't selling.
Yep.
So we went from, all of the MLS, we looked at it last week, we went from 0.9 months of inventory to 1 month of inventory. We've now ticked in, we have 1 month. Now, I get it, there's some areas in the country that have 3, some are getting a little close to 4 months.
But again, in retrospect, that's a normal market.
Yeah, and that's still a seller's market according to the traditional definition of a seller's market. 4 months of inventory is a seller's market. So, keeping that in mind, I don't see the prices moving.
I mean, if you look at basically household formations and starts of it's pretty black and white. We have a household formation is when a house becomes a new house. So if I move when I already live in a home, I'm not a household formation. If I get divorced and my wife buys another home and it's a true household formation, that's a household formation. So people that are moving out of their parents' house, first-time buyers, things of that nature. When you look at the housing starts in the actual household formations, they're not even remotely close to being in equilibrium. So we don't see a supply, and like we talked a little bit about, Eddie, is that ironically the dampening has actually exacerbated the supply problem, where ideally what the Fed's moves would be doing is they're not going to be able to ignore supply and demand, the fundamental rulings of supply and demand. And in order to cool the housing market, we need more supply. And their moves are actually exacerbating it and decreasing supply, ironically. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But ultimately, if new housing starts are not keeping pace with new housing formations, the supply is always going to be an issue, and it's going to continue to support home prices like we're seeing.
Yeah, and they're predicting major dips, and I don't see that. So looking at the forecast now, not everybody is. Zelman is the only one out of the ones we have. So the latest home price forecasts for 2023, Fannie Mae has it at 4.4, HEAPS is 4.1, Freddie Mac is 4, MBA is 3.1, and NAR is 2.1. And then Zelman is saying we're going to have a 3% loss. And Fortune.com took off with this about 2 weeks ago, talking about Zelman and all of this, and putting a pin on this one like it was just, this is the end-all be-all of reports. And I think they ignore nature in this aspect. They are ignoring supply and demand.
Yep.
And
You can't ignore supply and demand. I mean, it's just...
no, because that's the reason why we took off and went up so much.
Right.
We had a limited supply, and 2%, 3% interest rates created a huge demand. So people made the move. And that's why prices started going up. And we're not up as much as other areas. We went up about 30 grand on average in our marketplace. In some places it went up about 50. So let's just say 20 to 50 grand. I mean, because we've got a very diverse housing stock.
Yeah.
A lot of different markets, a lot of different types of properties. Some are new construction, some are pre-existing, different ages, all kinds of different stuff. From ranches to 2 stories. So there's a big diversion of what is going on with the price and raise. But we didn't go up like California, 140,000 something in a year on average for the whole state.
Yeah, but you got to look at it's more of a percentage, just because you got to look at their average.
True. 'Cause
median house.
I think the average median house is 600,000 out there. It might be
Something
7
like
now.
that. It's at least like twice what ours
So
are.
that's still a 20% increase.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it, for perspective wise.
But when you look at affordability for cost of living sake, yeah, that's just insane. That is just crazy insane. And getting back to the original thing, the other aspect, we talked about you qualifying. We get to get back into doing what we do. You can actually negotiate now.
Yeah.
I can go in and say, I got a great qualified FHA buyer. They're coming in 3.5% down. You can sit there and sell your buyer to the seller, and they will listen. We can do our job. It's not a bidding war.
Yeah.
Well, the last 2 offers
You had bidding war.
this weekend, I have had multiple offers, the last 2.
Yeah.
All weekend I've been running into it.
And we're still cranking out production.
What were the price points on those 2, out of curiosity?
Price point was in the mid 200s.
That's where I think
And-
you're going to see.
Yep, that's where it's super hot right now.
Yeah.
You get to the 500, 600, 700 is where you're seeing.
Well, actually, there was one been on the market for a week, and it was in the between 500 and 600,000.
If it's priced right.
Yeah, multiple offers, calling highest and best, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think this is so this thing says, while interest rates are higher and demand is lower, supply remains tight. The slowing new construction and low supply may hurt economic activity, but from a home price standpoint, it will be somewhat supportive. This is very different from the housing bubble, where demand was waning, but supply of new homes was significantly increasing.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you look at 2008. We were building so many homes. All of a sudden, the rug's pulled out. Hey, only half of these people that used to be able to get a mortgage can get a mortgage anymore. So you had an overabundance of supply and a lack of demand, where today we have an overabundance of demand and a lack of supply. I shouldn't say overabundance of demand, but an abundance of demand.
And I get it. So the Fed's got to raise the rate. And that's one thing, the rate has nothing to, well, there is an indirect relationship. But the Fed rate, explain what the Fed rate is actually for somebody that doesn't know but hears this Fed rate tone around.
Yeah, so the federal funds rate is the overnight lending rate that banks charge each other. So if Harris Bank goes to the overnight lending window and borrows $300,000 from Chase for one day, that's what Chase would charge them. And what it does is it slows down the amount of money, because it's the shortest term interest rate out there, and it slows down the abundance of money in the market. So because what Chase and what all these other banks have to do is they go and increase your equity line, they go and increase your credit card payments, all the short-term interest that you have goes up. So basically the short-term borrowing, the costs go up, which should theoretically slow down spending. You might not go put the trip that you were going to go with your family on a credit card, or because the rates have gone up. So it does not affect mortgage rates. The biggest determining factor of mortgage rates in the bond market is inflation. And the reason being is that inflation erodes the fixed rate of return that you get from a bond.
And that's the biggest aspect. So if like inflation jumps like where it's at 8% right now, and your bond's only giving you 2%, you're technically losing 6%.
Exactly. So what they're going to do is increase the rate of the bond that the price is going to fall on that 2% bond to the point where all of a sudden there's an inverse relationship. So as the price of bonds goes down, the rates go up. So bond prices have been plummeting because of inflation and the fact that the market really feels that the Fed has no control over it right now, and the Fed has not really given the market anything to make them think differently.
And then with that being said, bonds have to pay a higher interest rate because because no one wants to put money into a losing investment.
Exactly.
So they got to pay the higher interest rate, and what happens is now that means they have to charge a higher interest rate to get that return.
Yeah.
So that's why you see that relationship there on with the bond market. That's why housing mortgages are tied to the bond market. They're not tied to the Fed rate. And I want to go back to the Fed rate for 1 second. The reason why banks have to do that is federal law says they have to have so much money covering everything, in house. Mm-hmm. They have to have so much money on hand. Yeah. All right. So they have to meet those federal guidelines to make sure they have enough cash. So if they're short, that's when they go back and borrow from either the Fed itself, mm-hmm. or I didn't know they could borrow from another bank.
Exactly.
So that is the reason why this all exists, is because the regulatory systems that are in place, there. All right, let's take a quick look before the break. Let's go over some numbers for Joliet. All right, so new listings. This is for August. So we have data as of August, and we're still looking amazing in Joliet. All right, we're looking normal. All right, median sales price in August is up 2.2% to $230,000. That's August over August. So we're 2.2% higher on the median price, 8.6% on the average. That's $250,887. Percentage of original list price received, 98.4%. That is the first time we have seen
under 100 in a long time.
Which means you can go back to negotiating. We can do our job. And more importantly, you have a chance to go in and bid and work on these aspects. Last year it was 101.1, but 98.4% is still historically high.
Oh yeah, you're getting you're getting 98%.
Of your asking price, original asking price. Average market time of a house is up. All right, here's the clickbait. This is where they trick you. 81%. Market time is up 81% in Joliet. Well, yeah, we were in the basement. We took 2 steps up the stairs. We had 21 days of market time in Joliet. We were at 38 days in August.
Yeah, a squeak over a month's supply.
Inventory.
Squeak.
And here's your inventory number for Joliet. Inventory is up 4.5%. We had 178 homes available at the end of August last year, 186 homes this year. We are not up 26% on inventory when it comes to what's going on. Not in our market, and Joliet's numbers are supporting that. 12-month average is up 9.1% on single family, 241,641. The median is up on the 12-month is 4.5% to 230,000. So we're not seeing anything weakening. These are all normal numbers. This is where we should be. But you're going to see, because of trying to get inflation control, that Fed rate keep going up. Prices are going to keep going up. I still think it's a good time to buy now before these interest rates hit 7%. Maybe 8%. I was at the conference last week for Illinois. We had our fall business meetings, and the professor they had on stage said, we might hit 8%. And everybody went, ooh, and I'm like, why is people shocked?
I mean, we're already at 7 today.
We hit 7?
Yeah, today.
Did we hit 7 today?
Yeah,
Okay.
today is a bloodbath right now.
So, I mean, that's not shocking that this is where it's going, because that's what like you said, the Fed is planning this. They want to destroy creativity. They want to destroy capital. They want to destroy demand.
Yep.
Because they need to get inflation under control.
Yep.
And here's the thing. It's not going to be that hard. Because guess what? It's not, we hit December. Inflation was at 8% last year in December. So as long as we're not like 8% above that, that means you're up 16% in 2 years. We could be coming into normalizing, hopefully around December, probably I think maybe January, February.
That's what I'm kind of thinking.
Well, if you look too at the December numbers, like we talked about, Eddie, December, the reason they were comparing December 2021 or 2020 in the December this year of last year of 20. So that was at the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
That was when, you're comparing us after pumping in the most money we've ever pumped into the system historically to a time of ultimate, or like one of the biggest, I shouldn't say depressions, but obviously the whole world was still in the middle of a shutdown.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and it took a hit on productivity. It took a hit on production. It took a hit on so many aspects, and those chains and those systems have to get refilled. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk a little bit more on the stock market and your home values. So keep it here with Get Real with Eddie.
A premier real estate professional, Eddie Ruettiger of the Ruettiger Group at Baird & Warner.
Welcome back to Get Real with Eddie. Hey, if you got questions on the market, give Nancy a call. Nancy, what's the best number to reach you at?
You can call me at 815-545-1162.
And if you want to talk to our guest about getting a home mortgage, give John a call. John, where can they reach you at Compass Mortgage?
yeah, best number to get a hold of me at is my team line, and that is 402-882-5626. That number again, 402-882-5626.
So where does the Jennings come? Because what's the whole team name again?
So the team name is Kambs Group. And Jennings is I'm a 50-50 business partner with my friend from 7th grade, Caleb Jennings.
Oh, very, very cool.
So we've known each other long enough to hate each other.
And then like each other again, and then hate each other again, and then like each other again. I got a couple friends like that.
Yep.
So I got one friend that we've been friends since diapers, as we say it.
Yeah, all the bad things about him, right?
That's right. Absolutely. All right. So watching the stock market, for your home value could be interesting. So getting into where we're at. Equity is currently the value of your home minus what you owe. So looking at, according to CoreLogic, let me blow this screen up so Nancy can see it.
Yeah, thanks.
Not a problem. Here we go. Here is your numbers of how much your home went up. All right, year over year in quarter two. So basically, second quarter of 2021 to second quarter of 2022, 1 year time frame. Your house in Illinois has gone up $33,000. California is up $117,000. Arizona's up $89,000. Washington is $82,000. This is some of the bigger ones. Florida is up $100,000. And I have talked to agents. Everybody is thinking the market is going to melt down in Florida, but every broker and agent I talk to has flat out said, yeah, there's no inventory.
Yep.
There is nothing is cooling that market off. And I've got some friends that have been looking to, get that retirement home. Yep, nothing's cooling off Florida. So
Yep.
Texas is up 54,000. Arizona's up 89,000 a year over year. So this is second quarter versus second quarter. I mean, again, we see some normalizing, but we're still 33,000 up year over year. Granted, that's still a lot of 2021, and I think the back half of 2021 is where we really picked up a lot of the crazy bids and pricing and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're really sucking in, I think, the top of the peak in this data, and I think the next report would show us a little bit lower. But I still see, Joliet up 2% on the median.
Yeah.
Well, let's not minimalize. This is huge.
Yeah.
This is a huge chunk of equity gain.
Yeah, it is a
Unprecedented.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it also thwarts the idea that there's going to be a wave of foreclosures that's going to increase supply.
well, and that's where I don't understand. People are like, oh, these people are going into foreclosure, and I did see some data points that showed there was an increase in foreclosures in Chicago. But again, if you're at zero, because we were at zero foreclosures because of COVID, because they didn't allow foreclosures,
Yep.
anything is going to be an increase.
Now,
in
if you look
foreclosures.
historically, they're right. They're still historically below average, even after coming out of COVID and the moratorium.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. You're still below 2019 levels.
Yeah.
And no one was freaking out about 2019 of this
Yeah.
massive foreclosure run.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't understand.
Well, people have equity now, so why would you foreclose? You'll sell.
Yeah,
exactly. And with a market ready for your home.
maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe that's it. They think all of a sudden there's going to be a massive amount of group of people that have to sell off their house for whatever reason because they can't afford it.
Yep.
I don't see that happening.
Not the way things have been structured.
No, because from what I've heard, my concern is the tax bill. All right.
Yes.
Now, we're 1 year out of 2021. Next year, we're going to have another year of that. And the way Illinois does it, you have a 4-year assessment, basically. But it's really going to start kicking in. But a lot of the taxing bodies, they're looking at, well, we're not going to need all that money. We're going to,
Well, the tax rate will go down.
yeah. So the rates are going to go down. They're going to put their bid in, and here's what we need, here's our budget. So their rates will go down. So your tax bill may go up a little bit, but the overall amount of money that they need is still going to be somewhat consistent. They're not like they're going out to spend a huge chunk of money. Most of the municipalities and other government agencies understand and know this and want to make sure they keep property taxes down because they don't want to see a wave of foreclosures because of property taxes.
Yeah. I think it's really going to come down to jobs, and that's what has kind of been, again, resilient, is the Fed's been done all this tightening, where every month it's like, oh, when is unemployment going to tick up? When is unemployment going to tick up? And it hasn't been. But when you look, what I find interesting is historically, what the Fed and the media points to is the fact that jobs are the unemployment rate is the lowest it's ever been. But if you look, when do we have major recessions? Shortly after historic lows in unemployment, which is right where we're at. So that's the wild card is really. But again, people lose their jobs. They should have enough equity to sell their home.
Yeah, because no one wants to give the equity over to the bank.
Yep.
No one wants to give the equity to the bank. There's no doubt about that. That I'm not turning that equity over, so they're going to sell, and the demand is still there.
Yep.
Now, and I don't see the higher interest rates pushing off demand because housing is, an essential source of living. Whether you're renting, and this is the part I don't think they talk about. Well, I have to live somewhere, so I'm either going to own the house or rent. Well, guess what? We're going to not own because interest rates are so high, so they're going to go to renting. Rental prices are an all-time high.
Yep.
And that's not going to change.
Yeah,
So
that's rentals. I mean, the demand again, housing demand.
yeah, supply and demand. So you look at the supply and demand, of what's going on. So looking at the buyer demand, the monthly index shows that we're still pretty close to highs in the demand. So the monthly showing index, all right, we peaked this year in March at 285. All right. Last year we peaked in March at 284. Now we've fallen down to 158. So demand, going off the showing index, you could say demand's been cut in half. But it's still 50% higher of 2019. The showing index was probably about 120 back then. I'd have to see if I can find a chart.
I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But
It's all a blur.
Yeah, it's really a blur. I mean, so everything is moving forward and accordingly. And it makes sense on what it's doing. It really does make sense on what it's trying to do here with the market. It's lack of supply, demand is still huge, and I'm sorry, I still think raising interest rates and higher interest rates, believe it or not, at this point, it's going to cause more demand.
Well, it's going to cause demand for certain price points. I think you'll see the higher price points back off first.
Here's your showing index. All right, showing index in July over the last 6
Here
years.
you go.
All right, so this is July numbers. In 2017, the showing index was at 124.7. 2018, 123.8. 2019, was I good or what? I said 120.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
123.6. Not bad for off the top of my head. All right, 2020, 199. That came in the back half of the year because the rates took that giant drop when they turned around and cut the Fed rate to 0, and then bond rates went down and everything went down.
Yep.
And then it held at 2021, it was 189.4. This year in July, it was 158. So we're still, a good 30 points up. Almost 30% higher than what we were in 2019.
Well, and you figure, okay, millennials are coming of age. They're in that housing. They are in that housing market. They're a huge source. They're not just going to disappear. They have to live somewhere. So I don't see demand going down.
I don't see demand going down either because they do not want to rent anymore. I just, and that's the thing. I think all these economists and all these other individuals, you know what? If if the price of my iPhone goes up, I get a different phone. There's multiple different phones out there. You make a choice to go to a different product. Okay? If my, restaurant raises their prices, I go to a different restaurant. I stop going there. Okay? Housing is a different beast. It's a different animal. You have to live somewhere. So do you want to pay your mortgage, or do you want to pay the mortgage for somebody else? And I think the public has gotten weary of paying other people's mortgages because they're looking at it. I had someone upset because they saw, if I remember the post, they saw a rental in Naperville for $1,600 in 2018, and now the same rental's back up on the market for $3,200. And they're like, that's not inflation, that's greed. And I'm like, no, that's inflation. I go, the cost of labor is up, 50%, because that's a huge part of being a property owner, is having to get things fixed and repaired. The cost of goods to fix those things is up dramatically. More than inflation, because that's part of a big chunk of this inflation chunk. I want to say the cost of goods be anywhere from a 2x4 to roofing shingles to whatever it is. You're looking at anywhere from 30 to 50% increase. You also have increases in insurance. You have increases in regulation. It is not as easy as it was to be a landlord today as it was in 2018.
Yeah.
All of these things are costing the consumer. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. Before we go to break, got that amazing Matisse me and Nancy walk through when we were out at Lennar after the show. This is a 3-bedroom ranch in Creekside Crossing, 16048 South Long Common Lane in Plainfield. It is listed at $559,990. Come on in, take a look at this property, or give me a call, make an offer, whatever it would be. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath ranch. Okay, you have the master bedroom with the master bath. You have another bedroom with the ensuite with it in the room. And then you have your main bath in the hallway right next to the 3rd bedroom. All 3-car garage, all full basements on everything out in Creekside Crossing. 3-car garages are standard, full basements are standard. And my favorite part is you get the ceiling fan box. So if you want to put a ceiling fan in later, you have the light switch and the light above the room. It's included. Lennar's everything included policy is just amazing. You got to stop out, check these out, or give me a call at 815-823-5478. Again, 815-823-5478. All right, when we get back from the break, let's talk what are the top reasons homeowners are selling their house right now. Keep it here with Get Real with Eddie.
You made a smart move to Get Real with Eddie, helping you make your next smart move into your next home.
All right, welcome back to Get Real with Eddie. Hey, if you got questions on the market, give me a call, 815-823-5478. Again, 815-823-5478. My team, the Ruettiger Group at Baird & Warner, is ready to help you any way possible, whether it's listing, buying, even some rentals right now. I've got some clients that, they have to go with a rental. They're not in a position to buy just yet, and so we will get you into the rental and then start working on trying to get you into that position to buy, whatever we need to do to help you with your housing aspects. And if you want to give John a call about getting approved, John, what's that best number to reach you at again?
402-882-5626. That number again, 402-882-5626.
All right, so top reason homeowners are selling their house right now. Jessica Lutz, Vice President of Demographics and Behavioral Insight, At the National Association of Realtors, home sellers have historically moved when something in their life changed. A baby, marriage, divorce, or a job. So these things haven't stopped. That's why one of the things, housing's not going to stop.
Yep.
You have a population increase. All right, have a bigger population than we did prior to 2-3 decades ago, when a lot of these models, I think, for housing were developed.
Yep.
And they're still using that. And that's why we have that supply shortage. All right, what's the biggest reason, Nancy? Why is the number one reason homeowners are selling?
Number one reason, they want different features and amenities.
That one takes me by surprise.
That's 31%.
31% said different features or amenities.
That kind of surprised me too.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? That does make sense because you look, because of COVID,
Yeah, true.
a lot of people moved out of the city. They were looking for, a lot of people moved now because of restaurants. One of the biggest aspects I think municipalities are pushing is, how do I get restaurants? How do I get restaurants? How do we get, I'm drawing a mind blank, the beer places.
Microbrews.
Brews. Yeah. I think I said micro booze.
Micro booze.
I was thinking booze. It's all the same.
It's all good.
Those seem to have died off a little bit. I don't think they're as popular, but I mean, still, they're looking for quality restaurants. I also think, you got the Food Channel and all these other places that have really, glamorized the industry, and how to be hip and chic and, unique. I always think of, what is John Tesh, whatever, that Bar Rescue.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that show.
Oh,
It is pretty funny.
One of
It's
my
pretty
favorites.
cool.
And a lot of the sciences I was utilizing and talking about when I used to DJ in bars back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one bar that had a zip sign. They never changed it. Never. And I looked at him, I said, you need to change that. Well, it's up there. We've got this. I said, if that sign doesn't change every 2 weeks, by the second week, they don't see it. It becomes blank. It becomes a mute. You have to change that sign every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next reason, 29%, home no longer meets their needs. All right, so maybe the house is too big, the house is too small, whatever the case may be.
And maybe they need that home office now.
Maybe they need that home office. I've got clients that work from home right now that I'm working with.
Yeah.
So.
That's reason number 3.
Oh, yeah,
That is
here.
reason number 3.
Got ahead of myself, didn't I?
Yep, 26% need that home office. So, what's the next reason, Nancy?
Next reason, 23% say they want to be closer to their loved ones.
And we saw that as a huge reason during COVID.
Yeah.
That idea of life is short, family is important, we need to be here, really kicked in.
Well, and let's face it, as you have kids, you need to have a support network.
This is true.
Or as you age, same thing. You need a support network.
My kid goes to grandma and grandpa's almost daily. Daily.
We were a little different. We moved further away from our loved ones.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So there's always an exception to the rule.
Yeah, there's an exception to every rule.
We're
I
not
guess.
judging. All right. And here we go. 22% want a smaller house. That's less work. Larger houses take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Lawn care, snow removal, hey, it's coming.
Ugh, why did you have to say that?
It's supposed to be a bad year, too.
Oh, stop.
I guess we are in a third cycle of La Nina. And every time there's a third cycle of La Nina, we get heavy snowfall in the Midwest.
Don't say it. That's a 4-letter word to me.
Snow.
Yeah.
Snow. I love snow.
No.
I do.
Because I'm the one that has to shovel it. No.
I will.
No.
I will take the snow any day of the week over that polar vortex thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, that's just completely out. I didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
But
So the last reason they sell, no longer need to live near their office, 17%, and it's that work at home.
Yeah.
yeah. If you're more flexible, you're going to live somewhere you're excited about living. Maybe, in the mountains or by a river or, wherever you want to go.
In a van?
Could be.
Down by the river?
Down by the river.
There you go. All right. We were talking before the show in the green room, and I said, hey, the old flyers that the lenders used to drop off, this is before, the smartphones and before the Great Recession, that was an aspect. And you said, yeah, you don't even do that anymore because agents are never in the office.
Yeah. Nobody's in the office.
No, they're all working from home.
And nobody answers the phone. Like you said.
We answer the phone. That's not true. That we answer
the phone.
The one exception is real estate agents. They answer the phone.
Not all of them do.
I was going to say not very many, but we answer the phone.
Yeah, we answer the phone, but yeah, I'm the one that if I see a missed call and I don't know it, and if it's local, not if it's, I had one from California. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's not a real estate call. Sure enough, they left a voicemail message, and I checked, yeah, that was not a real estate question. It was, okay, what can I sell you? But I'm the person that will, if I miss a call, and I'll call back and go, yeah, I missed a call, how can I help you?
Yeah, could be a client,
yeah.
Could be a buyer.
You never know. You
Yep.
got to call back.
Absolutely. I've had client, oh, wow, I didn't leave a message. I'm shocked. I'm like, why? Well, no, I've been calling, and that's usually what I get. I've called 4 other agents, and no one answered, and you're the first one to call me back. I'm like, well, let's solve your problem. How can we get you a new house?
Yeah.
So, all right, that pretty much wraps everything up from Get Real with Eddie. Hey, don't forget you can check us out online with GetRealWithEddie.com 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to keep yourself up to date on your largest investment, your home.
Thanks for listening to Get Real with Eddie. Eddie Ruettiger is a realtor at Baird & Warner in Plainfield, license number 475141896. Managing broker Steve Engel. For more information on your neighborhood, call Eddie at 815-823-5478 or visit yourdwellings.com.